guys, Rick Shaw here. It's the 19th of April and we've got a fairly clear blue sky day going on here. It cooled down considerably even out in the sun this morning because there's a cool breeze, and I mean it's much cooler than it has been, so I think that typhoon off the coast is bringing us some cold air. The wind seems to be coming out of the north for us, as is normal here. It always comes from down there and heads this way. Now, when I was over at the by the bike path early on my walk, boy, was it windy there. It was windy there, and I had my jacket on again. First time in probably a month. I had my jacket and a hat on because it was really cool. Here, walking on the streets, I was fine, but when I got over there and decided I was going to walk up to the park, I came back home and got my jacket. That's how cool it was, and that hasn't been like that for a while here. So I had a nice walk through the park. I didn't see a soul this morning, not a single person out. A lot of mornings when I'm up at 4 walking, there's, I'll see at least 1 or 2 people. But I didn't see a soul, like people riding their bikes to work or anything. And I walked the path. I kept walking up the path by the road, and there was just zero activity going on. So I don't know what the heck is going on, but we're still under, like a lockdown thingy supposedly. I don't see too many checkpoints. I'm going to have to go out again later today and get some stuff. We're going to need some more eggs and stuff. We got a pile of organic eggs from the store. We got from the S&M at the Walter Mart, and all the yolks were pre-broke. It's in the handling of them. They just get shook so damn bad, and got a few bad ones in there. Just it's a real shame when you go to pay for quality, you just don't get it, because not that the company who's producing the item doesn't do their very best to give you a quality item. It's the people who handle it, getting it to the store, that just don't care. I see this all the time on the pop trucks, soda here for you, soft drinks for you Filipinos, and beer trucks sitting in the baking sun with no cover. There's no cover over anything. They put beer in brown bottles because the sun damages it, light damages it. Yet they boil it in the sun here. The plastic bottles with the soda pop in it, you got to be eating a lot of that stuff from the bottle because it'll sit there and bake in the sun. And it's a shame how it goes. But I had my video yesterday about our war. Now this morning after breakfast, I cooked us a nice omelet today. The kitchen one, there's almost no activity there at all. That was a real hot spot for ants. Not much activity. This one here, not much activity again. I think they carried it all back to their nest. And the speeder ants that were on the table, I actually poured a little bit out of the container so it got on the table there. And they would go up to it, look at it, and walk away. They were going after the camote. So what I did was I took a little tiny piece of camote and I just smashed it with a fork and stirred it up all inside of there and took all the rest of them away off the table. And my goodness, they went nuts over that. You could see them drinking it and hauling little pieces away. I call them speeder ants. They're about 3 times the size of these little acid ants, and they're super fast. I mean, when they're moving, they're really cooking. It's like max headroom the way they move. So they're gone. I saw a couple stragglers on the floor, but they weren't looking too good. They weren't so speedy anymore. But I think those ones are dying. I didn't see any dead ones anywhere. They must have went back to their nest. Kind of like elephants going to their elephant boneyard, I guess. But not a lot of activity on that war. It looks like that the first battle really knocked them down. We'll see if there's another one coming up. But I'm gonna move the traps around. We had some more ants coming over from the other side here. I'm going to move that over there today. And it seems to work better. The little holes I have going into my container, it seems if I tip the container over and spill it on the ground, a little bit on the area where I'm setting it, and then shove it around, that seems to work great, because then they come in there and then they fill up the inside also, and they go get a drink. So that's working out pretty good. We got haven't heard anything about the house yet from the people there. We had the neighbor, very nice lady, go over there and just took some pictures in the windows. The doors were locked, so she took pictures in the windows. There's no curtains or anything up, and she couldn't see anything upstairs, but she said that downstairs is complete. It's absolutely she said it looks done. So she thinks it's gonna be any time, and it's all locked up and there's nobody doing anything. So, and she said all the plugs were in. She said everything looks done. I walked around on the outside of the house. Everything is completely done on the outside. She took a picture of our filter thingy and the hose bibs and all this sort of stuff that's supposed to be there. Drain. The drain things are in. So, and then she liked the concrete because her house doesn't have the concrete on it. And she said she thinks she wants to get that. That's pretty cool. So that's where we're at with the house. I hope they give us a holler so we can do a turnover here pretty quick. I haven't given them the last little bit of money for it. So that'll be, when we go down there, we'll give them that. And I'll probably just give them part of it, make them wait. If they turn it over, we got 30 days to pay it off, so we'll make them wait another 30 days, the way they've made us wait. This is 2 years, so 25, 26 months since we started this process with this company. And I had made some comments to the girl on there, and she got on there and said how I insulted them when she turned around and said that it's like up on me, insinuating on me about all the attacks in America on Asians. Well, I went back to the beginning of our conversations. I have everything. I screenshot it all so she couldn't delete anything. I had asked her, why are these other houses done? Well, way back in the beginning, I said I wanted to go look at one of these little houses. We didn't look at that house. We looked at a larger version of our house. And it was definitely different. It had a sink in the back. It had this. It had that. It had vent hoses for in the kitchen for take the heat out. This little one doesn't got any of that crap. Well, she said, we can't let you look at any others because your house is the very first model, Mariana model, being built. Okay, so why were two other ones built before mine? I asked her if she was prejudiced, and then she took a real case of offense. I didn't say she was prejudiced. I asked the question. Now, going back from the very beginning about my plugs that were put in and removed and everything chipped out and all this stuff. I know I'm going to have trouble with the finish on the wall after a couple years. It's going to be cracking. It reminds me of this, where they went in and added this, and you got all this down here now. That's what my walls are going to be looking like, because in the way beginning, I had that put in. I have it, her and me going back and forth. That's going to go in. We called it a dryer plug back then. I'm not going to get a dryer. It'll be for the washer. It's a 20 amp, 220 volt circuit, all by itself. Same with the air conditioners. And it never got put in. Then they had to hack it in. Then it got completely covered. Then they're hacking it, and then they're going to hack out the bottom, the ground the concrete we poured in. It's just a mess. So that's really troubling. Then I got on there that I do not like these toilets with the push button on the top. They're cool. They look great. Love them. Well, guess what? I asked the regular little handle ones. The handle on the front of the tank. That's what I want, because I don't want to deal with trying to put this thing together, get it all working when it breaks. And with the water here, they're not going to last that long. When you go ahead and do the tank, you got to try to hook this stupid thing up. It's just a nightmare. There you go. Go get them. So I was really bummed that I'm looking at pictures from the neighbor, and it's got these stupid push-button toilets. And this girl wonders why I get upset all the time. It's the servant that takes money, and I've got somebody who apparently is incapable of doing what I ask. Totally incapable. When I had him add the plug, I paid extra to add a plug. Well, instead of adding a plug up above it at 5 feet in the air, she deleted the one in the bottom and had me pay for another one on top. Then I said, no, that's an extra. I asked for an extra plug there. Okay. So they had covered the bottom one over. That was a junction box. And I just keep shaking my head, and this girl says, I'm being bad to them. Well, wait a minute. If you order something, think about it. If you go into a restaurant and you order spaghetti and they bring you meat and potatoes, you're going to be upset. You're going to be bummed out at this stuff. So, yeah, I don't like the way things are going with this, with what they're doing for me. To get what I want is just like pulling teeth here. I'm not a dentist, but it's just this long, drawn-out chore. And, you know, I always said this. Whenever there was trouble with somebody, it was like at the school when my son was little and they started trouble at the school. I said, look, and this woman, actually, you could tell this teacher hated her job. She said the kids were all bad, they don't listen anymore, and it's, you know, they're just rotten kids. And I was like, look, ma'am, you've been doing this for how many years? 28, 30 years. If you're not happy in your job, why don't you go get a job as a garbage collector or something? You know, of course they threw me out of the school, but that's my thoughts on things. If you cannot do your job, get out, move out of the way, let somebody else who's young and hungry do the job. You know, but they get there in this position in companies around the world, and they start messing up. They start screwing things up. And I just say, look, if you can't do it, I was a contractor for years. I worked with them daily. We bent over backwards to get things right. We didn't come up and start saying, oh, well, that problem on the other side of the world is your fault. What's that got to do with anything? I just don't get this. So it's just a shame the way this bill is going. You know, and I can still see, even though all this stuff is pretty much done, it might take another year with these people, because the one who seems to be handling it, I don't think she knows how to get out of her own way. I really don't. It's a royal shame what's going on. But I'll let you guys know. I'll let you know what's going on with that house, and I want you all to take care of yourself. I'm glad I screenshot all this stuff on this person, and the other bad thing was too, I've asked this woman repeatedly for a manager. Then I asked this other woman that I talked to over there for a manager, and she gave me an email, which was an email right back to the first person. And they refuse to give me anybody that I can talk to other than themselves. They're hiding the fact that they're inept. So when you go to look to get a house, I wanted a development, so it's all builders in these developments. Be real careful. Make sure everything is detailed and in writing. Constantly keep showing what you have in writing to them daily, because I think they just forget, and then do whatever they want. That's what I'm seeing. So just be careful if you're going to do any kind of house here. And and by the way, they're very expensive. If you think about this, guys, for a 60 square meter house, this on a little teeny weeny lot, there's basically no room around the house. We're talking 45 grand here. You know, and this isn't like in no metropolis. I know when you go out to the big cities, houses can, you know, run 3, 4, 5 million like that in the States. But when you get out to the country and places I live, you can buy a really nice house that's 3 times as big as that for 25, 30 grand. I actually just looked at one in Missouri I went to one of these sites, I think it was Zillow, and I was looking one that was right on the border. They were asking $24,000 for it, and it actually has a thing where they do the virtual tour of the house, and the people were even leaving some of the furniture. They were leaving a dining room table, the stove, the fridge. There was no mattress or anything, but they left nice bed frames, double bed frames, and stuff like that. And that was $24,000. That was just one. I just was looking. I was just comparing prices. So when you come here, they're expensive. And these houses here, they sold for $1.5 million pesos, and now they're running anywhere from 2.8 million to 3. That's just what they're getting in here. Even these ones that are old and crappy that I walked through on the one video, they're getting it because these yuppies, there's yuppies here. They're coming in and they're buying them and they're fixing them all up. This man down here just fixed his up. There's somebody down there fixing that one up. You go all around these streets, there's people buying them. This is a good area to be. It's a dead zone for computer, but it's moving up. This place right here, it's very easy to get to Tagaytay. They got a new back road to Salang. They don't know why they have, because of the COVID. I think they haven't opened the bridge that'll get you straight over to Santa Rosa. Although you can jump on the highway and get to Santa Rosa in no time now. We've got the little automatic thingies there. You can get to all the nice places. You can get on the highway, go the other way, and be in Alabang in no time. So this is kind of, if I was wanting to be more in a city, I would just stay in this area. I would. I kind of want to be closer to the beaches. That's all. That's the one thing here that is lacking to me. And there's a lot of areas that you can drive without the traffic. If you drive here, you'll learn very quickly the times that you can go. We had when my kids were in the hospital over by Chrysanthemum, where my buddy lives. He wanted us to buy a house in there, do our house in that area. Okay. And I was thinking, I was at his house, beautiful home, real quiet neighborhood. You couldn't get in. There was only one way in and one way out. And these security guards, they called him, and then he had to tell them okay to let me in. So I liked that. That was very secure. Plus, when you go out of the gate of his place, there's all kinds. There was a little place, a sausage sandwich shop that I liked. There was another place that barbecued chicken, beef, and pork right on the corner. I mean, right there. All kinds of nice, you had your dentist, your doctor. You had all kinds of stuff right there. And then you could just turn left and be in San Pedro in no time. Or Pasita, which has got everything you would need. Muntinlupa was not, so it was a really good place. Plus, you were real close to the highway. Well, the problem what happened with me was when the kids were in the hospital, you stay. When you go to a hospital here, they'll give you a bed, you and your wife, so that you can stay with your kids. They call them a watcher. It's not like the States where they make you go home. You stay. If you've got somebody in the hospital, somebody stays with you all the time. You're kind of like your nurse maid. Help out the other nurse in case something happens. Well, my wife wanted a shomai, and there's a place that makes really good shomai up the road, about I would say it was between a quarter of a mile and a half a mile. And I started walking it. And there was one vehicle that, stuck out to me. I was able to walk all the way down, get our shomai, turn around and come halfway back, and there was that same car that was at the same spot when I started. The traffic was that bad. They just don't move here. You'll get people pull out, and they're constantly wanting to change lanes. I found when I was driving in the States a lot of times, if you just sit in your lane, know the lane you need to be in and get over there right away, because sometimes people won't let you in. Here, they definitely won't let you in, but they'll cut you off. I've had jeepneys that were old, beat up, smashed up jeepneys, and I'm in a nice new car, and they just start nosing in front of you. And they don't care if they hit you. So what? What do they care? It's not their jeepney. It belongs to somebody else. They're just a driver. Oops, sorry, and they don't care. So you're going to get that. So that was an area where after that I told my wife, I brought her over to the other side of the hospital and I said, look out the window. And just that traffic. And what was really funny, after I got all the way in the hospital upstairs, by the time she ate and when we got out, you could still see the car way down at the end. So there was at least 45 minutes to go between a quarter of a mile and a half a mile. 6-7 of a mile. It was just absolutely ridiculous. People were getting off the highway, and to come home, people were coming off the highway to get in there, to have to sit through that to get home, just to me would be absolutely terrible. I couldn't take a place like that. I would want to buy a place that was over there, and I could park my car and then ride a bicycle or just walk the rest of the way home. But the place we're going to, we're way at the back end of the development, so to get out, it's going to be a good track. They don't allow any stores in there, so we'll have to drive out to go. But if we go the other way, it heads out like here. It'll head you out to the country a little bit, and we can be to the beaches. And the Sambu is not too far. There's a bunch of places where we always like to go that we can be there. Used to take us an hour and 15 minutes to get to these places. Now it's only going to take us 15-20 minutes, and we're going to learn the back roads. I've got maps pulled up that we printed out. You just get them off the Google. And I printed them out and I overlaid the names of the roads and stuff so we can watch right from our street and how to go. And that's really something to have. You can't count on Waze or Google Maps to work here. Don't count on it. Because I see so many delivery drivers that they're here and they're saying, well, this is, and I'm looking at their thing, no, that's another block, that's way down there. Because it sends you wrong. Us all the time, we're using it where it'll say, head this way, and we're thinking, this seems wrong, and then it'll take us up a quarter of a mile and say, U-turn, do a U-turn. One time it sent us into this place, into this road, so we drive into this road, and it's like a neighborhood, and I'm thinking, this just don't look right unless there's a cut through. Then it said, take a left, so we took a left. Then it said, make a U-turn. Then we made a U-turn, then it said made a right. It took us right exactly out where we went in. So don't trust these here in the Philippines. Do not trust this Google Maps or Waze. Waze, I took it off of my phone. I totally got rid of it. The Google Maps, the only thing I use Google Maps for is to find the map of an area I want, and then we load it on and we get it printed. I do it in color. You can pick the overlays you want, like the names of the road. I don't do all the names of the businesses or anything unless it's something that I really want, like a city hall. There's a thing you can punch in there just to pick all the government buildings. We'll find all the good restaurants and stuff and mark them later as we go. We can draw it on. I can draw it on with a pencil. And so that's the way we do it. But you come here, don't trust the Waze or the Google in this area anyway, or in Batangas where I've been. Even when I used it up in Manila, it sent us the wrong way. We were at the police thing, and I turned it on at the big NBI, and we were going to go to the embassy, and we kind of had an idea which way to go, but I turned it on, and Faye was going, no, that's wrong. Don't go that way. You turn this way. And then it just keeps going through this recalculating. Before you know it, we're at the embassy when this thing was going to take us way out and around through traffic. So don't trust it. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go. That's my little thing for today. It's just I don't think it's going to be a very hot day today. The wind has died down a little bit since I started this log, but you all take care and don't forget to pray for each other. This is Rick Shaw out.